Second Sea Lord, thank you for joining me. Now, I know the Royal Navy is in a period of rapid change, undoubtedly the biggest of all time. It's certainly been a very unsettling time for many, and there are loads of questions that service personnel would like answers to, which I know we're going to tackle in a moment. But first of all, do you have a message for those who have been selected for redundancy?
Well, the first and most important message I have for people who've been selected for that redundancy process is that they will be leaving the service, regrettably, in many cases, with all the support that we can offer, and certainly everything that they're entitled to. We will be providing support ourselves within the service, and we are engaging very widely with outside agencies, including the Career Transition Partnership and the charitable sector, to make sure that support is in place, and I'm confident that it will be.
So actually you're doing everything you can to make the process as smooth as possible.
We're doing everything we can, and I just want to make the point that we have increased the capacity in the resettlement process. The charities with whom we're most closely linked, and I would name, for example, the White Ensign Association as being one of the most important charities in these particular circumstances, since they offer both career advice and financial advice. We've been working with all those organisations, and they have increased their capacity to cope with this surge of outflow. So I'm confident we've done everything we can, but there is an important point here. If people don't feel they're getting the support they need, I want to hear about it, and we'll consider whether or not there is more that we should be doing. No guarantees there, because it's all about entitlement, but I'm very determined that over and above the entitlement, we'll do everything we possibly can.
I know restructuring is a buzzword at the moment. Can you tell me how that's affecting the NCR?
The Defence Review also required of us to make a 25% reduction in the non-frontline area. Areas, for example, including the Ministry of Defence Head Office, the Defence Equipment and Support Organisation in Abbey Wood and in the naval bases, for example, and of course in the Navy Command Headquarters and the outlying areas of Navy Command, the training establishments, etc. And it's that Navy Command review work which you asked about, and we are therefore driving down to ways in which we can find how we can continue to support, command and direct the front line with 25% fewer people in the headquarters, service and civilian. Important to make that point too. This of course has to fit in with the wider work around defence and the defence transformation. Our structure has got to be able to queue in to those other areas of defence. So there's a bit of a juggling game at the moment as we try and understand which other areas of defence are changing and how, before we can properly consider how we structure the Navy Command itself.
Now, I believe there's some positive news about the Maritime Reserves. Yeah, can you tell me about that?
The future for the Maritime Reserves is bright. The outcome of the recent Future Reserves 2020 study, I think, made two really important points. One of them was an absolute recognition of the role that the Maritime Reserve has played in the past, is playing today. And indeed, the report in many cases highlighted the Maritime Reserve as the benchmark for defence reserves in the round. The second point I think that came through here is the potential new roles for reserves, the Maritime Reserves, in areas such as maritime security and national resilience, that is, support to the civil authorities for firefighting, floods and so on. Properly structured role for the reserves there.
So really the future's bright and quite varied for them.
I think it is, and I think let's link your two themes so far. The downsizing and redundancy process in the regular service and the role of the Maritime Reserve that came out of the study. There is obviously there an opportunity for those who leave the regular service to seek a chance within the Maritime Reserve, and I would really recommend that if people wish to do that, they make their names known early.
Now, of course, pensions are on everybody's mind. They're right at the front of their thoughts. Have you got any new news on pensions? Because obviously any changes there will affect everybody.
There's no news over and above the various galaxies that I have already issued on the subject of pensions. And I've issued, I think, 2 or 3 galaxies in the last 12 months on the subject of pensions, recognising just how very, very important pensions are to all of our people. You asked whether there is news over and above those galaxies. The answer is that there is none. There are 2 bits of really important news that I'll just re-emphasise. The first is that accrued benefits under the old schemes will be protected, and the second thing is that Hutton and indeed the government have acknowledged that the armed forces will take more time than others in the public sector to come up with the right answer. So I don't expect any really substantive changes to be announceable for probably 2 years at least.
What would you say to reassure everybody that a career in the Navy is still a worthwhile one to have?
Well, I'll give you an honest personal answer. With a Navy that is looking to 2 aircraft carriers, one of which, perhaps 2, will be running, a Navy which is operating the Joint Strike Fighter aircraft with a significantly greater capability than any other aircraft we've operated from the sea before, a Navy that is based on the Type 45 destroyers, one of which of course we're in here today, a Navy which will be based on 7 Astute class submarines, and one that is preparing for the successor to the Vanguard class and the Type 26. Now all that will be a picture of the Navy in 2020.
Yeah, so an exciting future ahead.
An exciting future ahead. That's not to say that the next few years won't be difficult. Of course it will be. But I want the younger people in the Navy, those who wish to commit to this Navy's future, to think about what the Navy would look like, once we've gone through this 5 years of restructuring, because it will be really exciting.
For more information about the announcement of Tranche 2, see Galaxy number 30 and DIN number 71. And in regards to pensions, view Galaxy 28.